come up and remember Imre Lagler. I'd first like to call upon Mr. Moe Hill, class 1975.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would first like to thank LR for being at this school for so many years. A teacher, it's hard to measure the benefit when a really strong teacher stays for a long time, and that's what Imre did. And you're legendary. I never had you. I'm not as old or as young as I'm not sure what I am, but I'd like to know, maybe after the show, what LR stands for, though. And I'd like to say hello to Elizabeth and her sons and tell you how much this all is beginning to mean to us. In 1972, when Imre came here, I had my new Latin teacher, another Latin teacher from Hungary, second period. Now, I don't know if I was in the first class he ever taught, I don't know, but we were here that first year. And a lot of you younger people, by the time you were in his class or on his team, you were aware that there was a legend that I mean, you'd heard about him. You'd heard him in the hallways, you'd seen him on the field, always demonstrative. But I just want you to know that in 1972, when he walked into the classroom, I was not at all interested in Latin. I was interested in my hair. I had an afro. We used to have a Moe Hill hair rule. It couldn't be 4 inches over the scalp. And on Mondays we had this kind of funny-looking barber who would show up. But if I didn't brush my hair up, it looked short. I'd always have Mr. Boyd or somebody go, "Mo, you look okay." And then Tuesday, back up. So I cared about that. Freshman year, I tried out for basketball, and I had my socks kind of ragged like Pete Maravich. It was all about the look. There was a band in California called the Grateful Dead that we used to listen a lot to. We were basically young and lost, and so I had no idea what was about to hit me. And then 37 years later, from second period class, I would be up here still as moved by the man who walked into the room, I'll never forget it, with gray, perhaps Sanzabelt slacks, a thin, cream-colored, short-sleeved shirt through which we saw the sleeveless undershirt, and made note of that look. Maybe we could incorporate that. Hard to know at the time. And his rose-colored plaid jacket and solid light blue tie. It was a look. They say clothes make the man. I'm not so sure. But in he walked and looked at us, and it was then we heard our very first hi. And he would look up when he did that. But it didn't matter if he was looking up or looking down. He had a way of looking through you. And this was Latin. This was and maybe Latin is a dead language. But it wasn't long before that class was anything but dead. And you might hear people walking down the halls after class singing this song, "I want to teach you Latin, not French or German or Greek." I mean, he had a way of just shaking things up, and people would just rush into that room, hoping to get a lash. And just it didn't matter. And you'll probably hear some more about lashes, but I just want you to know that above everything else, above his teaching ability, there was joy. There was the joy of life. And by the end of that year, I knew that I wanted to play on his soccer team. And we had 2 really good seasons my last 2 years. We went to the state finals 2 years in a row. We lost in the state finals 2 years in a row, which was hard. And I'm looking around and I see some of the great players from those teams. Not just myself. I see hold your applause. Fay, guys back here, Paul McDonald, Robin Mason, John Murphy. I see all the guys, Lee Woosley. We had a great time. We were lucky to be able to play for Emory. And if you were looking down at a soccer practice, and you would see guys down a circle around Emory, and you would see that it was a fan club, and that we loved him so very much. And German is the language I took, and Mr. Lagler was never one to beat around the bush. He always knew where he stood on something. He encouraged me to go to Germany after senior year and live with a German family, and he said it will open many doors. And if you don't go and you can, I have no respect for you. Well, okay, I'll go. And since then I've been back many times. My German family has been here in the States. My wife Jess and I have met them over there, and it did open a lot of doors. And my sons and daughters have traveled and lived with families over there. My son might even major in German. And it goes back to Emory. It just goes back to Emory. And a lot of things do. So I guess my notes. I'm almost done. I just like I can really read it. Enjoy soccer. I was the best player. I think we all felt that Emory was ours. The early 70s groups probably feel like, oh, those were the days. And we would always, at reunions, we'd say, Emory, really, weren't we the best team? And he would say, no. No, you did not pass the ball. But I will always be grateful that this past summer, I was passing through, and I called Elizabeth and Emory, and they welcomed me for lunch, and we had goulash and beef stroganoff. I'm not sure, but it was divine, and Elizabeth had made a bit too much of it, and we had dessert and coffee and rosé wine, and we had time to visit, and I was old enough to know that I was looking at somebody who had changed me. And you don't know that in 1972 with your bushy hair. You don't know that. But I know it now. And thank you